So, Kevin, I thought there'd be no more perfect person to propose my wild idea for a new Ohio state law than someone who served 22 years plus in the Ohio State Patrol, now turned legislator. Kevin Miller, what do you think of my idea for fools that stop cold on the interstate to have a two-pronged anvil hit them legally, lose their license forever, and a $10,000 fine?
Wow, Woody, I tell you what, I certainly like the way you think, for sure. Definitely. What I'll tell you is, if we're being real here, there probably doesn't have a snowball's chance in you-know-where getting through the General Assembly. Just saying.
Why is that? Is that too far out there? Or what might we be able to do? Because, I mean, this is crazy. And nobody knows better than you the kind of death and havoc that these two incidents could have caused.
Yeah, it is crazy, but people have seemed to have lost their common sense nowadays. I mean, I can give you a couple other examples that I think we ought to throw in there too, which is what people do at roundabouts. Same thing. They just stop right there when they should be merging in, or even on-ramps where you're supposed to be gaining speed to merge into traffic, but they just stop. Like I said, I just think people have lost common sense.
All right, what might be a proposal you could come up with? Because I believe stopping on the interstate is really a heinous offense, and it ought to be prosecuted accordingly.
Well, first of all, it is already illegal to do that. And certainly, if something tragic were to happen and someone would lose their lives, obviously there's enhanced penalties for things like that. But as I said, in the General Assembly, there's a real issue with trying to get legislation through that increases penalties. Just here in the last DA, I ran a bill to deal with folks that had drunk driving arrests in their history, and then they committed the offense of aggravated vehicular homicide. So they had a prior, and then they did it, killed somebody. And even doing that, it was difficult to get that pushed through the General Assembly.
We're chatting with Newark 69th House District Representative Kevin Miller here on The Ride Home on 103.9 The Maverick. So, Kevin, what you're saying is really, even though you kind of agree with me, I may be out there a little bit, there's not much that you could do. There's just too many softies there that would think that's...
Yeah, no, you can take a look at my legislation, and a lot of it has to do with enhancing penalties. But the reality is it's tough to get through the General Assembly. And at the end of the day, when you move legislation forward, you've got to get buy-in. You've got to get it from, in my case, the House. You got to get buy-in from the Senate, and then it's got to make it to the governor's desk, and you got to get buy-in from the governor. So difficult, but yeah, definitely a dangerous situation for sure.
Kevin, thank you so much for joining us here on The Ride Home, here on 103.9 The Maverick.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you.